Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. You've been asking, and I've wanted to do this for a long time, but I've just been sort of enraptured listening to it, frankly. I mean, when you talk about it, if I have to talk about it, it kind of breaks the spell. So I've been having a wonderful time with I Musici, the box. You've been asking me, should I get the I Musici box? Of course you should have the I Musici box. What do you think? Naturally. Now, these are the analog recordings, complete analog recordings. I assume the digis will come later. This is the Philips Legacy, 1955 to 79. And it consists of 83 CDs. And it's not complete because they left something out, those blithering idiots at Decca. And I have no problem after the imbroglio with that duplicated, missing, incorrect disc in the Grumio edition, calling them the blithering idiots at Decca, because they made all of our lives absolutely miserable. It was a fiesta of managerial incompetence. And I'm just hoping, so far I haven't found anything wrong with this. I haven't listened to all 83 discs yet, but, someone will figure it out. If I don't, I just want to tell you what's in it. And it's wonderful. The problem, it's just so sad that people at that level of inability are given dominion over such a fabulous catalog that deserves to be treated with the utmost respect. And maybe they got it right. I'm assuming they did. I always give them the benefit of the doubt. I really do. It's a nice box. Of course, you have to be careful picking it up so it doesn't fall out and go to pieces here. It has, I'm putting some of this over here. It has original jackets. I mean, they're really actually kind of cool looking. Here they are, original Philips jackets, right? Oh, it's wonderful. That's CDs 82 and 83, by the way. I think I'll go through the booklet. Maybe that will be easier. Let me see if the booklet, I haven't even looked at the booklet. I've been just going through the albums. It's wonderful to have this stuff. Oh, yes, it does. It tells you what's on each CD. Thank you. Okay, they've got that part right. Even if they didn't get everything right that should have been on every CD. So putting this aside right here, just so you can see what it looks like. That's the interior. All right. Now, let me just say something before we start about I Musici. I Musici is, one of the greatest chamber orchestras that ever lived. They were so instrumental in reviving interest in music of the Baroque period, of course, music of the Italian Baroque period for the most part, which is what most Baroque music that we care about was, or at least a lot of it. Their main competition eventually was the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields with Neville Marriner, and they were to a certain extent supplanted by them when the Academy jumped from Argo, its original label, to Philips. And because then both of them were on Philips and they were doing the same stuff. And I can't help but wonder whether or not the fact that, the center of European classical recordings was basically London, and that's where Neville Marriner and the Academy were, led to I Musici being gradually sidelined. I mean, they existed together into the digital era, so I can't say they were completely sidelined, and God knows they made enough recordings. But you know how these things work in sort of awful nationalistic categories. And I have a sneaking suspicion that at least in terms of promotion, the Academy got a lot more play than I Musici ever did, even though preferentially I tend to prefer I Musici because I just think they play with more character. I think they have more pizzazz. I think they're a little bit more enjoyable on the whole. Not that Marriner was bad, because he wasn't, and he did many, many, many fabulous things. And so did the Academy. But for example, when they did the Mozart edition, of course, they chose Marriner to do all those early Mozart things and whatnot. I Musici didn't figure. And so I'm happy we have what we have. Let me just put it to you that way. And I look forward to the completion of this, if there is going to be one. So let's get started. From 1955 to 79. And you do, by the way, hear a certain, change in the approach to the music as well. From the 1950s, it was more typical of what people were doing with Baroque music in the 1950s, even though this was always very stylish for its period. But tempos become swifter, rhythms a little crisper, and, a little bit more zippy. And you can hear the evolution in our perception of what that music does and how it sounds best. That doesn't mean we're right. It just means things changed. So let's get going. You ready? Because we've got 83 discs to go to. CD1, The Four Seasons. Of course, I Musici owned Four Seasons. They made 3 or 4 recordings of it. It was my first recording of the first Four Seasons, was this one. Was one of these. Not this first one from 1950 whatever with Felix Ayo. It may have been this one. When was this one? 1955. It was the next one. That was my first recording of it. So and you can compare Four Seasons, and it's kind of fun. Then we have Torelli Concerti, a bunch of them. I'm not going to get into like soloists and people like that. I'm just going to tell you what it is and let you know that it's all stylish, musical, beautifully, wonderfully listenable, enjoyable music making. And it's timeless. You are not going to tell me, I'm not accepting the fact that some period instrument people who did it since did it better. They did it different. And is it so different as so as to invalidate the real musical values these performances have? Hell no. Come on. Don't be stupid, right? CD3. Corelli, Concerti Grossi, Opus 6. Oh, here's a bunch of them, but not all of them. Not all of them. Then you've got Marcello, 6 concertos from La Cetra, and Gemignani, some Concerti Grossi. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And, Francesco Manfredini. Oh, there you go. That's cool stuff. With like various people. I have to tell you a story when we get to disc 10. So it's Manfredini. And, okay, that's great. And we have, Francesco Bonporti. Some concertos by Bonporti. I mean, there's people no one ever heard of. These people. And Mariner didn't do these people either. They didn't delve into the Italian Baroque the way that I Musici did. That's what, of course, I think gave these recordings some of their uniqueness. And we have Vivaldi again, a bunch of concertos. And Bach, a bunch of concerti. What are these? Violin concerti. There we go. Yes, the violin concerti. And a harpsichord concerto as well on a solo piano. Because that's what they did in the 50s. CD10. Okay, here we are. Vivaldi, more concertos with titles and things like that. Do we have, let's see, one from L'Estro Armonico, one concerto alla rustica, and a bunch of others. Now, before we get to CD11. Okay. I was hanging out with some over the summer when I was in college in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins University, and I ran into some people who were, classical music Baroque snob type people. They were housing a woman who was visiting from Italy, and she was just doing what, one of those sort of like, get a rail pass and run around the country. She wasn't a student. She wasn't anything. She was just staying in their house, and they wanted to get rid of her because she was really irritating. So they talked me into letting her stay with me, and she was really irritating. Let me tell you. Oh my God. The first thing she did was clean the bathroom and tell me that it wasn't up to her standard. And, she was in her 50s or 40s or something. I guess it wasn't. What can I tell you? I was pretty tidy. Anyway, I had to drive her to New York, and I couldn't wait to throw her out of the car. But that wasn't the point. What happened was we had a few soirees together, and they noticed that I collected classical music. And one of the things I had was the Philips Lebendes Baroque edition, the Living Baroque edition, which had a lot of I Musici stuff in it, as I recall. And a lot of these Manfredinis and Torellis and Tortonis and Spumonis and, all of those, Zamboni, the whole crew, right? Okay. So I didn't have the whole series. I had a lot of it, but not all of it was available, right? Anyway, I didn't have it all. So I'm sitting there and I said, what do you guys like? I've got music. And I showed them my collection. I had a wall of LPs in those days. And they're like, oh, that's really great. We'd like to hear some Gemignani. Well, I didn't have any Gemignani. I just had no Gemignani. I really didn't. But I had Manfredini, and I had Torelli, and I had Bonporti. I had a whole bunch of these Manfredini. I had a bunch of these other guys. So I pulled out one of the, Locatelli is the one I pulled out. It was Locatelli. And I stuck on Locatelli, and I walked out, because the stereo was in my bedroom, and we were all sitting in the living room of this apartment. It was student housing, back in the days when student housing had room. It wasn't like a cubicle. It was like an apartment. Big apartment with 3 bedrooms and a living room. And I walked out and stuck on my Locatelli and said, isn't Gemignani wonderful? And they just looked at me and said, yes, of course, we just love Gemignani. Oh, Gemignani's so fabulous. And I Didn't say a word. Okay. CD 11. Mozart, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, the Serenata Notturna, usual Mozart stuff. Handel, Concerti Grossi, Opus 6, number 4. Do we have all of them? No. See, in those days, you didn't do complete things. They did samples. So you get numbers, let's see, 4, 9, 10, and 12. And that's that. Or they weren't released in a set. They were released as individual LPs. So you had to buy 3 or 4 LPs, and that's how they did it. So the rest of them are down the line here. So then we've got Locatelli. Here's the this is my Locatelli disc. There we go. I think it was. Yeah, there we go. Some Locatelli concertos. Vivaldi flute concertos with Gastone Tassinari, in case you care. Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. This was the one. This is 1959 with Felix Ayo. I think this is the one. I'm pretty sure that I had. There we go. So you got The Four Seasons again. And then you've got like a bunch of other Vivaldi concerti that they don't tell us about. Is this the same? It's not even the same opus. No, it isn't. There's nothing to do with it. CD 17. Oh, let's see. Locatelli. There's more Locatelli from the Arte del Violino, opus 3. And lots more Vivaldi. Lots of Vivaldi. Oh, so much Vivaldi. Alessandro Scarlatti. This is lovely stuff. His instrumental music. This is called Serenata Napolitana. You get Alessandro Scarlatti, Leonardo Leo, Francesco Durante, and Giovanni Battista Pergolesi. These are beautiful pieces. I love this disc. I remember when I had the LP. It was wonderful. And there's more here. Remo Gazzato and Albinoni, and a bunch of Albinoni things on CD 20. Let's see. Is it part of the same series? No, I don't think it is. But boy, that was a beautiful disc. You got 52 minutes. That was one record. Haydn Violin Concerti, Mozart Divertimento things, Tommaso Giordani, and more Mozart. You see, you're going to hear composers who no one else touched and haven't touched since in any large degree. So that's really fun. CD 22, we're all the way up to, thank God. Bach, the Triple Concerto, and the Oboe Concerto for violin and oboe. That's a reconstruction of the harpsichord concerto, double harpsichord concerto, BWV 1060, and Brandenburg Concerto number 3. Then we've got Vivaldi, the rest of the Four Seasons, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, the rest of the Four Seasons. No, it's the rest of the Opus 8, Il Cimento dell'Armonia e dell'Invenzione. The contest between harmony and invention. We've got Respighi. Oh, what this famous record. The Ancient Airs and Dances, Suite 3, Barber's Adagio, Bartok's Romanian Folk Dances, and Britain's Simple Symphony. This disc was a classic, an absolute classic, and it still is. It's just as wonderful as the day it was recorded. Mendelssohn, String Symphony number 9, beautiful performance. Schubert, his Rondo in A for violin and strings, and 5 minuets and trios. Delicious. Arcangelo Corelli, yes, the Christmas Concerto, Manfredini and Torelli. These are all Christmas concertos. Yes, and Locatelli. These are also on other earlier discs, these Christmas concertos, because you don't make a disc with these people without throwing on the Christmas Concerto, because it was the hook that sold the disc. And then you take all the Christmas concertos and put them on one disc and sell it all over again. There we go. Vivaldi, L'Estro Armonico. There's the whole deal. And it's lovely. Let's see. Another Venetian Serenade, Albinoni, Vivaldi, Marcello, and Galuppi. I love these collections. Because these composers don't all sound exactly the same, and you do get to hear some differences, which is quite welcome. Okay, Bach, Brandenburg Concertos. There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, along with the orchestral suite number 2 with the flute. The one in B minor that goes you know that. Okay. Then we've got Vivaldi's La Stravaganza, 12 concerti. There they went. And Vivaldi La Cetra, 12 concerti. Oh, this is good because it gets through it more quickly. And then we've got, let's see, Vivaldi, another concerto for Flautino, Piccolo Concerto, and Capuzzi. Giuseppe Antonio Capuzzi. There we go. Let's do that right. And more Vivaldi. And then Paisiello. That's CD 37. 38 is another bunch of Vivaldi things. Ah, yes. The Mendelssohn Octet. A glorious performance of the Mendelssohn Octet. And Rossini's Sonata number 3. His string Sonata number 3. And let's see, Francesco Bonporti. And Geminiani, Concerto Grosso, Opus 7, number 1. A household word. Go, sing some of it. Hum it to yourself right now. I want to see something. Okay. Remember Opus 4, number 3. Corelli, the Concerti, Opus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. You get 9 of those. 10, 11, 12. Yeah, okay, they're all here. Opus 6, number 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, the whole batch. Yay. Mendelssohn String Symphonies 10 and 12. Totally fabulous. Absolutely fabulously wonderful. You know, that 12 has a fugue that's to die for. It's an incredible piece. Wonderful, wonderful work. Okay. Albinoni, Concerti a Cinque, Opus 9. And there's like 12 of those, right? Yeah, at least, with Heinz Holliger's now there. Right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, all 12 of them. Telemann, some suites and concerti and other things. And Vivaldi, Concerti Opus 10 for flute, strings, and continuo. Albinoni, 12 concertos, Opus 10. And you get all 12 of the suckers. Ah, The Four Seasons, 1969 with Roberto Michelucci. That's the one I had. I knew it wasn't Felix Ayo. He was the earlier ones. Yes, it was with Michelucci, and it was 69, and oh, it's just as lovely as the day I first bought it. So there, in 1969. Wow, I was 8, and getting a Philips recording. I mean, it wasn't new when I got it. I must have been like 10 or 12, but getting a Philips recording in those days was a big deal because they were imports, and they had beautiful shiny covers. I mean, could I look at the beautiful shiny cover? Wait a minute, let me find it. It's right here. That's it. There it was, except it was not shiny anymore in this, but it was shiny. It was shiny and beautiful, and we had pictures of the Four Seasons. Oh, God, I love it. I just love it. It was wonderful. Turned me on to a whole era, that disc did, as it did so many of us, right? And then we have Geminiani after Corelli, 12 Concerti Grossi after Corelli's violin sonatas. Yeah, these are cool. Geminiani arrangements. They're rather nifty. That gets us up to CD 52. Francesco Bonporti. Four more concertos. Mendelssohn String Symphonies, number 11. Oh, 11 is like the hot one. It's in F major, but not really. It's really mostly in like D minor, which I think isn't that the relative minor of F major? I think so. And the concerto in D minor for violin and string orchestra, which nobody knew when this was done. A beautiful, beautiful Mendelssohn disc. Absolutely marvelous. Okay, Rossini. Here we go. We have, yeah, they blew it. The Rossini string sonatas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 6 is missing, unless it was that earlier one that I was looking at. I'm not going to be able to find it, frankly. I don't think so, because it was Opus 4, number 3. Oh, here it is. Opus 4, number 3 in C. Opus 4, number 3 in C, 1971. They left out number 6. I knew it, and they did all 6. I have them. They're right. They're there somewhere. I mean, they did all 6. And there was also a piece by Bottesini, the double bass guy, the grand duo something or whatever. That's not in here either. Why not? What are they thinking? Oh my God! They released those Rossini things a million times. There was an original double Philips thing, then there was a Philips duo. Yeah, but at least it's not an accident of the actual discification. I mean, that there's something missing in the box. No, what's in the box is here. That I know, but well, never mind. Torelli, trumpet things, and let's see, Torelli, Bononcini, Gabrielli, Andrea Grossi, Giacomo Antonio Perti, with Don Smithers, trumpets. That's all trumpet stuff. Cute little Baroque trumpet sniglets. More Vivaldi. Okay, there's endless Vivaldi here. Concertos on top of concertos and concertos of concertos. And then number 57, we're up to Tartini, Boccherini. Yay, flute concerto. And that's really cute. And Mercadante, another flute concerto. These are all flute concerti. And they're lovely. Okay, Mozart, violin concerti with Roberto Michelucci. Beautiful. The Turkish concerto is number 5. Such a lovely, these performances are so beautiful. They're Italian. They know how to sing. They make the instruments sing. And Michelucci was a really good violinist. So was Felix Ayo. They were wonderful leaders of this group. Eine kleine Nachtmusik again. The Adagio and Fugue in C minor again. That was on the earlier Mozart one too. And then we've got, yes, some Mozart symphonies. Number 44, 42, 13, 16, early ones. Kerschel 81, Kerschel 73. They have high numbers but low Kerschel numbers because they're actually very early. More Mozart divertimenti, along with the Serenata Notturna again. And more divertimenti. So some of the big ones. Numbers 10 and 11. Yeah, those are major. Those are major things. And 6 movements and stuff like that. Bach. What's this here? Oh, the triple concerto again, and the D minor harpsichord concerto, which is now on a harpsichord. Yes, we have achieved the harpsichordosity. And Vivaldi, some more concertos, flute concertos this time. And okay, some more Vivaldi concerti. Boy, he wrote a lot, didn't he? Yes. And, of course, all of these ones that they did were boxed up originally in the Vivaldi editions that Philips released as well. They did like all the sacred music and then like all the concerti that I Musici did and stuff like that. Tartini, a bunch of concertos. I want to find Bassoon Concerti by Vivaldi with, of course, Klaus Tunemann, who was the, wandering bassoonist that did all the bassoon stuff. Vivaldi, 12 Concerti, Opus 7. We're up to 69. We're almost there. Hang in there, guys. We're doing really well. Vivaldi's Concerti, Opus 11 for violin, strings, and continuo. And let's see. Number 12, Vivaldi Concerti, Opus 12 for violin, strings, and continuo. There they are. 6 Concerti, Opus 6 for violin, strings, and continuo. And there's more. Oh, it's just Vivaldi everywhere. Vivaldi, Vivaldi, Vivaldi. Yes. String concerti. The string concerti. Yes, the concerti for strings and continuo generally. And let's see. CD 75, Vivaldi for violin, strings, L'Amoroso, and some other goodies. Oh, now we have Pina Carmirelli. She was wonderful. Oh, yes. Pina Carmirelli. Wasn't she in the Quartetto Italiano? Yeah, I think she was. I don't remember names, but yes, I think so. And then we have, I want to see, I know they have here, some attributions to Vivaldi, as if there isn't enough that he wrote by himself. And, okay, Alessandro Scarlatti. Here we go. Concerto number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by Alessandro. Now, these are tiny little works, 5 minutes, 8 minutes. Little early Baroque things before instrumental music blossomed in the hands of composers like Vivaldi and, of course, Bach, who wrote, Okay. Here we go. The oboe version of Vivaldi's Concerto in C, Opus 8, number 12, and some other things like that. Haydn. Oh, yeah, Haydn. Yay, the Cassation in G, which nobody knows. And his violin, keyboard, and strings, the double concerto. Oh, that's a wonderful work. Yeah, isn't that great? And some more Vivaldi stuff. Yes, endless Vivaldi. And finally, as we come to the grand finale, the Pergolesi concerti, which we now know were actually by Unico Wilhelm von Wassenaer. 6 concerti armonici, that's discs 82 and 83, along with some Pergolesi. 83 is Pergolesi. Wassenaer is 82. 83 is actual music by Pergolesi. And is that like a little bonus disc? Yeah, it's 27 minutes long. 2 Pergolesi concerti. So there you go. That's the I Musici stereo analog box, the analog box. And there it goes. It goes in its little thing here. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have to get the digital box. But in the meantime, if you've managed to survive me doing that endless litany of Baroque masterworks, superbly played, beautifully recorded, absolutely impeccably rendered with supreme musicianship, then you do not need me to recommend that you get your paws on this while you can, because God knows how long it's going to be out there. I suspect not all that long. And as the holiday season is upon us, get yourself a gift. You, for yourself. Don't give it to anybody else. They don't deserve it. You deserve it. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.